2018, the wife and I took a trip down south to pick up this 2006 Jeep Unlimited LJ. Once we got it home and put the top on it, I noticed that the differentials was whining. I had to have driveline service to reset the ring and pinions up in both differentials. First time out on a trail, New Year's Day 2019, up at the Good Evening Ranch. This was a ride that Bobby Withrow and I took up Mexico around March 2019. Had a great day, no problems at this time. Well, our second trip to the ranch with the LJ, we came home with this dent in the rear quarter panel and a control arm that came apart that only had 3 threads screwed into it. In August of 2019, I got these used set of 40s off of Ronnie Loftus. And this is the little granddaughter helped me put them on the Jeep. September of 2019, I decided to ditch this factory roll cage and install the Gen-Right fastback roll cage into the LJ. Everything went smoothly for this upgrade. Here I made my own spare tire holder to hold a big old 40-inch spare tire on top of it. Some of the Jeep crew right here, we was out wheeling one spring day. I don't know, have no pictures of it, but I've already installed a rear corner armor on the LJ. And here's where Bobby Withrow and I was going up ladder in Ivy. And first time we've been up ladder, and I flopped the Jeep on its side here. And here's a busted hub that happened during Memorial Weekend that our son Jacob was driving, and then I took over and I ended up busting the hub. He's the one that wore it out though. He might not admit it, but he's the one that done it. And here's my seamstress sewing up the soft top that I ripped. Well, I was recovering from some sore torn labrums in my shoulders, and I broke the track bar mount off the axle housing, and Tim and Ryder, they beat it back in place, and Ryder done all the welding on it to get it back in place so we can finish out the day of riding up at the ranch. These here are my pit crew, aka the Green Kids, all 3 of them playing in the Jeep. They love playing in this thing when it's parked in the garage. The rest of 2020 and 2021, I wheeled the snot out of this thing with no problems. It performed flawlessly. Yes, and I had to put on a smoke show here just to listen to that turbo spool up. Well, this is the beginning of 2022, and I decided to give the LJ a look of my own. I took off the AEV front fenders and all 4 flares and put on the Poison Spyder flares and fenders. The front fenders from Poison Spyder didn't fit correctly, so I had to do some cutting. And you just look at the pictures and you'll see what all I done to it. Relocated the rear coil spring mounts on the frame. Why did Jeep design them with that daggone angle in them? I have no clue. Here you can see the big misalignment on the Poison Spyder fenders, and I had to cut them apart and redo them. There to the left, you see where I cut them and welded everything back together, and it came out perfect, I think. I used a piece of 1.5 inch angle to get everything squared back up and filled it with weld. And the good old buddy Tim Gray, the painter, he done all the painting for me and got everything smoothed out and turned out great. Oh, there's the Banks spacer to go the pss sound to it. I tell you what, removing this rubber bed liner off these daggone rot sliders and front bumpers been a chore. I figured a sandblaster would cut it, but the fella that done this tried it, couldn't accomplish anything, so I ended up having to use a propane torch and a lot of elbow grease to get the rubber coating off of it. Now I'm going to give them back to him, to hit him with the sandblaster, clean them up so I can put a couple coats of textured black paint on them. And I tell you what, I just got tired of looking at all the places where I had it scuffed up and decided to strip it off. But if I'd known what I know now, I wouldn't even fool with it. Well, the sliders and bumpers are getting there. Finally got all that down rubber bed liner removed from them, and had the gentleman to hit them with the sandblaster. About 3 coats of primer paint and 3 coats of this Herculine truck bed liner. That way when I scuff them up, I can just hit them with another coat of paint. But these should be dried here in the next couple of days good, and put them back on the Jeep and go from there. Get her all back together. Well, when I made this, or we bought this Genrite fastback roll cage for the LJ, I made this spare tire mount here, which after hindsight makes it difficult getting the tire up on there, because you got to lift that big old 40-inch tire up and set it down on there. So I'm going to cut that off and just weld a flat plate in there with a tapped hole in the center of it, and use like a T-bar to hold the spare tire down in place. So I'll get that cut off there and I'll show you what I come up with. Well, if you're doing high-line fenders on your Jeep TJ or LJ, which that's what I'm working on, is the LJ, I had to do away with the stock windshield washing fluid tank, and I bought this one off of Amazon. It's a universal kit. It comes with all the buttons and hoses, and the little tank is only like 7 inches tall, 3 to 4 inches thick, and about 5 inches wide, which will fit perfectly in here on these inner fenders on the inside. Not as big as a factory tank, but it'll serve its purpose. And I also done away with the cruise control on the LJ, because the last 2-3 Jeeps I've had, I never did use the cruise control, but I took it off there to make more room underneath the hood. And I'll show you a little video after I get it all installed here.